Hey guys, welcome to tutorial number 8. And this tutorial we're going to just simply show you guys how to complete a quality objective audit. Now, by this time what I've asked you guys to do is to create your quality objectives and just really quickly do a recap on this really quick. I have 6 quality objectives. And again, a quality objective is just really looking at whether or not your staff and team members are following a process that you've designed. Now that process might be how you engage with a new lead, how frequently you engage with a new lead, what is your follow-up process look like for that lead. Another audit or another quality objective might be, in this case, your life insurance presentation or onboarding process. We'll use onboarding as in this particular um, tutorial, being that it's something that's pretty universal between any new business. As new customers come on, there's generally some process that we want in order to sort of ingrain them into the business or into our processes and whatnot. But it's essentially saying, hey, when we bring on a new customer, these are the steps that we follow to make sure that we're building a relationship with them, that we get them committed to us as a business. And so you can create a quality objective for just about anything that you want, whether it's how you engage with the customer or it's whether how you follow a process or whatnot. But this is really the bread and butter of what Synapse does. This is the most effective coaching platform that you can have, is actually observing customer interactions and processes and providing coaching based on what you've observed. And this is by far, I promise you, will drive performance in the right direction for your particular business. Really, the objective of what we're trying to do here is build people, because people will build your business. And so when we start thinking about building people, we're referencing your staff and your employees. If you coach them to a high level, they will perform for you. Where we run into problems is when we focus purely on mechanical action, make more phone calls, make more pivots, quote more households. All those things are important, but really, if you're not performing at a high level when you do those tasks, then it's really mute. It's really all done in vain. Um, so what we're trying to do here is really determine whether or not the processes you've designed as the business owner that you want your employees following are actually are being followed by them. Okay, so here are the ones that I've created: customer onboarding effectiveness, new lead follow-up process, shopping alert use, raw new auto process, life insurance presentation, and life insurance pivot. So I've created processes for all of these things and saying, hey, these are the things that make a raw new auto sales process good. And so I've defined what those things are. So just really quick, I'll show you that this is my form for that. Was there a reasonable effort to build rapport, an indication of gratefulness? Did we qualify to what to the customer to expect? What was the tone, pace, and enthusiasm like? So it goes on and on. So, but what we're going to do is we're going to go into one of the employees. So in this case, we'll use Claudia. And being that, actually, we'll use Sonia, since we're going to do the onboarding process, and Sonia's in charge of that. So let's say that we just signed up a new customer. Let's say it was 4 days ago. A new customer came in. They came in as a result of maybe a piece of mail that they got from us, and they wanted to be quoted. And so one of our sales teams quoted them, and we made the sale. So they're now an effective customer in our book of business. And so my expectation is that my customer service representative adequately onboards them to the process that I've designed. And the process that I've designed is this. It's pretty basic. We created this form together in the last tutorial. The observation type is box right here, is basically just saying, hey, how did you observe this performance? And in customer onboarding, it's not an actual live interaction with the customer like in other cases, like the raw new auto sales process or the life sales presentation, where you are actually observing an interaction between your team member or employee and a customer and rating it. In this case, it's like, hey, are you following these mechanical actions? Are you following this process to assure that we're building a relationship with this new customer? And so in this case, what I usually use is CRM software, right? So that's what I usually use, is determining whether or not these things happen by looking at how things are coded in the CRM software, what the notes say, and maybe even having a conversation with the team member. And then I'll usually put in the client or prospect. In this case, let's call them John Davis. And this just allows you to have a conversation with the team member in regards to who the customer was and what went well, what didn't go well, and it also makes it searchable. So, and in the data performance, so we'll just use today's date. And all I'm doing is determining whether or not these things happened. This is my follow-up process, right? Was a thank you card sent to the customer? Is the index information updated? And again, index information is just basic things like, do we know where the customer works? Do we have all phone numbers? Do we have an email address for them? Do we have an adequate address? Do we know all the people living in the household? I want to know all these things. So all these things updated? Customer experience survey, was that sent? And we do that utilizing either a hard copy piece of paper, or we send it digitally to the customer using a text message, using an office phone. Was a 30-day call scheduled? Did we have a CRM journey established to send out a coffee card? So, and usually about 15 days after we onboard a customer or we bring a customer on board, I ask that they send a $5 coffee card to the customer. And welcoming them on board. Agent call to establish gratitude. Did I, as the owner of the business or the agent, call the customer and say, hey, you know what? I know that you and I didn't have a chance to meet when you came in. I would have loved to shake your hand and thank you for your business, but I wanted to give you a call now to do that since we didn't have a chance to do that in person. And so I determined whether or not that happened. Customer enabled digitally, and that just means does the customer have the capacity to check their accounts online or utilizing a mobile application if your particular business allows that. Usually they require some type of enrollment. And so I want to make sure the customer got enrolled in their ability to be able to check their accounts online. And I can do that just checking through our CRM system or checking the customer's account. And then a customer contact card sent via text message. So I want to find out whether or not the customer has our information in their phone so that when we call, it comes up as blah, blah, blah insurance agency, as opposed to just a 1-800 number or the phone number, which would likely lead to an ignore or a not answering the phone. But if it came up as my insurance agency, they'd be like, oh yeah, this is my insurance agent, I need to pick up the phone. So I want to make sure that contact card got sent to them. So these are things I'm checking in the customer's profile and in the CRM software to make sure that they happened. And so what I do as I make these determinations is I code them over here. I'd say, okay, was a thank you card sent to the customer? Okay, yes, well, it was sent. So it was met. That expectation was met. Index information updated. Yeah, sure, it's all met. We have everything we need in order to establish contact moving forward, and we don't need any additional information from them. Experience customer survey sent. Sure, yeah, Sonia was really good about sending those. 30-day call schedule. Sure, that was met as well. CRM journey established. So let's say I jumped in and I said, you know what? There's nothing in our CRM software indicating that Laura is going to be sending out a coffee card at any point, and my expectation is that there is. So not met, right? And then yeah, maybe I made a phone call to establish my gratitude for their business, but maybe they weren't set up digitally. Laura still needs to call them and get them set up to do that. She hadn't done that yet, and then maybe no contact card was sent. So then when we get down to this part where it says overall audit outcome, and we're basically asking the application is essentially asking is how would you rate this performance overall? Is this something you would want to repeat or something you wouldn't want to repeat, or is it not applicable? And when I look at this, I'm like, okay, well, there's some areas where she met the expectations and there's some areas where she didn't meet the expectations. But overall, I would say this was not met. There are too many areas that I think are vital to establishing good practices and longevity with this customer, particularly around this coffee card piece, and then things like a customer enabled digitally. I think this is important in today's world, that customers make sure that they can do what they need to do online without having to call in. And then here in this box is basically asking, hey, what did you observe? What did you notice? And the way I would do this, and you guys can do this however you want, is I would actually outline it with strengths where I would put, I would list what I saw that was really done really well. So, just whatever it might be, 2, 3, and so on. And then I would go opportunities. Things that I felt could have gone better. And then I would list those out. Let's say it's 2 things. And then the last thing I would say is, what are my expectations moving forward? So what do I think some things that you can do to sort of make improvements right now on this? And I would list those things out. And then after I completed 2 or 3 of these on a particular team member, I would invite them into my office and let's have a conversation about how you think this went, what could have gone better, what you did well, and what some expectations are moving forward to assure that we're really buttoning this up pretty tight. Here's the thing, is we often jump to conclusions about where our employees are underperforming. But the reality is, until we actually make the observations ourselves, we actually don't know. And so these are things that large businesses are doing every day. When you make a phone call to any major company, it's usually, before you ever speak to anyone, it's usually a recording indicating that this call is being recorded for quality observations. And they have supervisors and managers listening to these recordings all day long so that they can provide the most optimal coaching to their team as possible. You all need to be doing the same thing. We all need to be doing that. We all need to be providing coaching, because that's how behaviors change. If you have somebody who's underperforming as a result of them having a detracting conversation with a customer, it's important that behavior gets checked, it gets corrected. And the only way to do that is to observe actual customer interactions, is to observe things like this and provide coaching and feedback, and to do it frequently. And so Synapse allows you to do that through this audit platform, through quality observations. So all you would do at this point is hit complete and save, and it's going to allow this to be a searchable performance evaluation, or not a performance evaluation, I'm sorry, a searchable audit down the road. So this is now permanently saved in her profile here. She can see it, you can see it. If a year goes down the road and you wanted to find this particular performance evaluation, you would have the ability to do it. You would just hit view past audits, and then you'd bring it up. This is the only one we've done on her so far. Bring it up, and there it is. And so that's basically it. That's how you complete a performance evaluation, or sorry, that's how you complete an audit on a quality objective. And as you do a lot of these over time, you're able to sort of compile a lot of data that can really break down behaviors for you of particular team members, that allows coaching to happen at a really high level. And I'm going to go over that in future tutorials, but for now, that's basically how you complete an audit. And yeah, so we'll catch you on the next one, guys.